A small home doesn't mean small style. Some of the most refined spaces I've ever seen were compact, but intentional. When you live alone or in a smaller apartment, you become much more aware of how each item, each choice, and each corner affects the whole. And that's a good thing. Small spaces can feel cozy or chaotic, depending on how they're handled. The good news? There are timeless design principles that help any room breathe better, flow smoother, and feel more open without knocking down a single wall. Today, I'm sharing 8 design tips that make any space feel bigger, not by adding more, but by choosing better. Let's begin with the most natural design tool of all. Number 8, capitalize on natural light. There is no better tool for opening up a space than natural light. A sun-filled room feels cleaner, bigger, and more alive. But so many women unknowingly block that magic by placing furniture in front of windows or choosing curtains that weigh everything down. If you want to make the most of the light you do have, start by clearing the area around your windows. Choose airy, light-filtering fabrics like linen or cotton voile. Hang your curtain rods high and wide so your panels frame the window instead of covering it. This simple trick makes your window and the entire wall feel taller. Clean your windows often and don't clutter the sill. The more unobstructed your glass, the more daylight your home will borrow. Even small tweaks matter. Swap opaque lampshades for linen ones, or replace cool-toned bulbs with warm white to mimic soft daylight. Keep furniture finishes matte or lightly reflective. Gloss can feel harsh in tight spaces, but a gentle sheen on a cabinet or wall brings dimension without glare. And don't forget layered lighting. Natural light is wonderful, but it fades. Floor lamps, wall sconces, and soft white bulbs keep your space feeling open even after sunset. Think of lighting as sculpture. It shapes the mood. Once you've let the light in, it's time to reflect it, literally. Number 7, reflect with mirrors. Mirrors aren't just decorative, they're spatial magicians. A well-placed mirror bounces light across a room and visually doubles the space. The trick is size and placement. Choose one large mirror instead of several small ones. Hang it across from a window or behind a light source to maximize the effect. A tall, arched mirror leaning against the wall adds elegance and opens up tight corners. You can also use mirrored furniture sparingly. A lacquered side table or a glass cabinet door reflects just enough to feel weightless without being flashy. Avoid cluttering a wall with too many small frames or decorative mirrors. It breaks up the flow. Think one bold, intentional piece instead of a mosaic. Let it breathe. For an understated effect, try an antique finish mirror. It softens the reflection and adds visual texture without overwhelming the space. Round mirrors also work beautifully. They break up hard lines and bring in a feminine, organic softness that suits smaller rooms. When mirrors start doing the heavy lifting, your furniture should follow suit. Number 6, choose right furniture. Your furniture doesn't need to be tiny. It just needs to be right. That means scale, shape, and visual lightness. Go for low-profile pieces with clean lines and raised legs so you can see more floor, which instantly makes a room feel larger. Built-ins are brilliant if you have them. But if not, think slim and multifunctional. A dining table that tucks into a wall, an ottoman with hidden storage, or a slim console that doubles as a desk. Avoid bulky arms, oversized headboards, and anything that eats into your walking path. Proportion is your best friend. A petite love seat may be better than a standard sofa in a small living room, while nesting tables provide flexibility without visual clutter. Remember, more furniture isn't more function. You want breathing room. Think beyond basics. A bench at the foot of your bed can store linens, while doubling as a spot to sit. A sideboard can serve as both storage and a vanity. The more roles each piece plays, the fewer things you need, and that's where the real spaciousness comes in. And what breathes more than a wall that's beautifully bare? Number 5, embrace blank space. Not every wall needs art. Not every shelf needs a vignette. In a small space, the absence of decor can be just as impactful as the presence of it. Blank space creates contrast, lets focal points shine, and gives your eyes somewhere to rest. Instead of filling a wall with frames or gallery collections, consider one oversized artwork, or let the architecture speak for itself. A clean wall with subtle texture, like lime wash or a painted arch, can be stunning. Shelving should be styled with restraint. Group objects by color, leave room between them, and always edit. If a shelf looks full, remove one thing. Visual quiet is luxury. Even the space between your pieces matters. Leave enough room around furniture so light can travel and shadows can fall naturally. When everything's too close or touching, it can make the room feel cramped. Graceful spacing adds a kind of serenity. Now that the walls are speaking softly, let's look at the language of color. Number 4, paint and color. Color can either connect a space or chop it into bits. In smaller rooms, cohesion is everything. Choose a light or mid-tone palette and repeat it through walls, textiles, and furniture. Think soft whites, warm beiges, sage, stone, or muted clay, tones that reflect light without washing out the room. That doesn't mean you can't use contrast. A charcoal pillow on a sand-toned sofa or a dark wood coffee table against a cream rug creates beautiful depth. The key is control. Keep the contrast deliberate, not scattered. Reflective surfaces also help. Consider satin or semi-gloss paint, lacquered trays, or glazed tiles in small doses. They bounce light while adding texture. Stick to 2 or 3 tones max to keep the eye moving fluidly. You can also layer texture within your palette, a wool throw on a linen sofa, or matte ceramics beside brushed metals. These subtle contrasts add richness without disrupting harmony. In a small room, texture does what pattern often can't. It adds depth without clutter. And when your colors flow, it's time to lift the gaze even higher. Number 3, drapery and vertical space. One of the simplest ways to make a room feel taller, draw the eye up. Vertical lines, whether architectural or decorative, stretch the space. Think long curtains hung near the ceiling, tall bookcases, vertical paneling, or slender floor lamps that arch gently upward. Crown molding, even the simplest kind, can visually lift your ceiling. Vertical shiplap or board and batten walls add height and subtle texture. And never underestimate a good drape. Hang curtains high and let them fall to the floor in soft folds. If your ceilings are low, avoid horizontal breaks like chair rails or short bookcases. Choose tall elements that stretch without feeling bulky. Even a narrow vertical plant, like a fiddle leaf fig or olive tree, draws the gaze upward and softens the room's edges. If you're short on storage, consider going up instead of out. Wall-mounted shelves, tall cabinets, or peg rails that rise instead of spread. The goal is to create lift without clutter. I'd love to know, what's one spot in your home you never quite know what to do with? A corner, a weird wall, maybe a floating shelf? Drop it in the comments and let's troubleshoot it together. Now that your eye has direction, let's give your space structure. Number 2, define clear zones. A small home without structure feels chaotic. That's where zoning saves you. Instead of letting furniture float aimlessly, create purposeful areas using rugs, lighting, and layout. A defined entryway, even just a narrow bench and hooks, signals welcome. A corner chair with a side table becomes a reading nook. Even in a studio apartment, you can define a bedroom area with a headboard or partition. Use low bookshelves, curtains, or even paint to separate zones. The key is clarity. Each area should feel like it has a job and enough room to do it. A well-placed rug does more than warm the floor. It frames the entire function of a space. A soft, neutral rug under a seating area, for instance, sets visual boundaries without needing walls. Use open shelving or a low console to separate zones gently. These pieces divide space while still allowing light and air to flow. It's all about the structure, not adding barriers. Zoning also helps with cleaning, decorating, and switching mindsets. You work at your desk, relax on the sofa, and sleep in your bed. Function meets flow. Of course, none of this matters if the space feels too full. Number 1, edit and declutter. This is the most important tip of all. Editing. Declutter. Breathe. A beautifully designed space means nothing if it's weighed down by too much. Start with what you use daily, then build from there. Anything that feels like visual noise? Let it go. Choose decor that holds meaning or offers function. Keep countertops clear. Store things vertically. Use hidden storage whenever you can. A bench with bins underneath. A coffee table with drawers. A bed with built-in shelves. And don't forget about digital clutter. Visible cords, blinking gadgets, piles of chargers. These steal visual calm. Use cord covers, woven baskets, or fabric boxes to keep the mess out of sight. Even tiny changes like this bring a surprising sense of serenity. You don't need to live like a minimalist to enjoy minimal clutter. Be selective. Choose meaning over quantity, and don't be afraid of empty space. In small homes, it's the breathing room that makes everything else shine. And now that your space feels lighter, brighter, and more open, if this gave you fresh eyes on your space, there's more waiting for you. Check this next video, and let's keep going.